Hey, everybody. How's everybody? I sounded like Elmo there, didn't I? Hey, everybody.
Do it again. Do it again.
No,
Okay.
not
All
gonna
right.
happen. Not gonna
Okay.
happen. Hi, everybody. Hope you that scared you there. Everybody, can we start over? I want to start
Yeah.
this show
Start
again.
all over.
It's like a
Start
third
all
show
over.
and have everybody scrambling over to there. Hope everybody's having a better day than I am right now. Um, all kinds of issues. I don't know what's going on. I created the show the other day on StreamYard and it messed up over here on YouTube. And long story short, we're here and I am, my heart can finally slow down now. Natalie,
Yeah.
how are you today?
I'm good. It's been a crazy day, but you know what? Mercury's in retrograde.
Okay.
And this is why everything work has been crazy. Anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Technology issues, just everything. And it's just a hot mess.
And
So,
that explains a whole lot of the way the day has gone. It
yeah.
is, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So, I'll be happy when retrograde is over and, I'll sit and have a martini.
There you go. There you
That's what
go.
I'm going to do after this is all said and done. So, yeah, we're going
And
to need
gotta,
that.
and you have to work after this though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as this podcast is done, I have to go and do work
And
because
you're
I
gonna,
was in meetings from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with no break. I had to apologize at one meeting because I had to go pee.
never apologize if you have to pee.
I had to pee and I ran to the bathroom. I'm like, I'll be 2 minutes late. Like, give me just a couple minutes. You know, Bigfoot dwarf, I'm not a dirty martini kind of girl. I'm more of like a cosmopolitan or maybe like some weird martini. But yeah.
You know what? Have you ever had an apple martini with a caramel swirl in there?
Yes.
Oh God.
Good Lord.
Okay.
And
After the show, everybody go to Red Lobster, get one of those. I'm buying. Just put it on my tab. It'll be somewhere. I'll buy
tell him
it.
Paul said
Yeah.
that.
Or
Paranormal Paul.
come on over here. I have a huge bottle of Fireball. I apologize to the to anybody if I offended you on that one, but I'm getting a shot tonight. It's been one of those
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
evenings.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have a fantastic show tonight. Melissa Adair
Yeah.
is going to be on tonight. She is
So excited.
backstage, looking like she's all excited back there.
She is,
There
because you
she
know
is.
what?
Okay.
That's
Okay.
my sister from another mister.
Uh-oh.
Right
Uh-oh.
there.
Oh God, what did I get myself into? You booked her.
Oh, we are two peas in a pod. I don't know why we have not spent the entire our lives together. Is that
So
incredible of a connection?
what I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to be here like this.
Yep.
You guys are talking.
We're going to just take over the show. Watch out.
That's fine.
Just
That's
watch
fine.
out. It's
That's
going to be
fine.
bad.
That's fine. Real quick before we bring Melissa on, I have a link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. I have everything on my paranormal merchandise site, 15% off. So head on over there and pick up a cool Christmas present for somebody that you would like to give a Christmas present to. I didn't think that through.
Nope.
But anyway,
Moving on.
yeah. And as our buddy BMR says, Super Chat is open if anybody is interested. If not, that is no big deal at all. I appreciate everybody being here, as I always do. But it's just a good way for to help keep the lights on and everything, and keep doing these fantastic shows, and getting out and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So,
yes. So if you feel the need and the gift of giving, we truly appreciate it. But we do appreciate you being here more because you are our family, and we thank you for being here.
100%. I couldn't, I look forward to these shows every single day. And even when I'm not on the show, I'm in the chat. Everybody here is just wonderful family, like everybody said, except for Jim. He's kind of a nerd.
Hey, you leave Jim alone.
No.
Leave Jim alone. Hi, Jim.
But he's a cool nerd.
We spent some time in the LBL together. We had a good time.
I'm sorry.
Hey.
But anyway, we love Jim.
Yes, we do.
So yeah, I love to pick on him. So
yeah.
Anyway, MK Ultra's here. Hey, MK, how you doing? Hi, everybody else in chat too. Thank you all for being here. Like Natalie said, we appreciate everybody coming in. So
You're
Anyway,
welcome, Jim. You're the best.
what about me? I said you're a great guy.
Yeah. After
Said you
you ripped him apart, I'm here defending him
were. Oh, we know.
as the good friend that I am,
Yeah.
his second mother.
Yeah, you just need to be the good one.
Yes, I did.
Anyway, let's, instead of me putting my foot in my mouth every time I talk now, let's bring Melissa up.
Let's bring her up.
Are you ready? She's ready.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Melissa.
Hey,
How you doing?
There she is.
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Can you help me save this show tonight?
I will do my best. I will do my best.
Awesome. Well,
Yes.
thank you very much, and nice meeting you. Thank you for spending your Tuesday evening with us. And I understand that you had quite an adventure getting here. For one,
Yes, I
breaking land
did.
speed records.
Yes, I did. I spent the day in Hiawassee, Georgia, which is a good hour and a half from my house.
Oh my!
And I do marketing. That's my job, and my number one client is my husband. And so he was in Hiawassee, and I had to be there to cover some things for him. And so he knew I had this podcast tonight, but of course, the last person that we saw tonight, he sells hearing aids, and the last person that we saw tonight bought hearing aids, and so the process took a little longer than expected. And so we were running. I was packing up stuff frantically while the lady was signing paperwork and getting everyone in the car. I'm like, we have to go now. So anyway, we did drive a little bit faster than we would normally drive to get home, but we made it just in the nick of time.
Nice. Well,
So
I
happy to
appreciate it.
have you here and to
Thank
spend
you.
time
I'm
with you.
happy to be here, but I'm glad that I can finally breathe now. I was terrified of how I was going to do the podcast in the car. I'm like, how am I going to do that? There's no light in here.
With a scary flashlight under your chin.
I
and shine it
right.
up.
I
That
was
would've been-
thinking of all the different possibilities, but thank goodness we made it in time.
well,
You
yeah,
know, Greg, Moistman Ogles, actually joined our podcast via the light from his truck. He was sitting in his truck after eating Mexican, and he
Nice.
just sat in his truck with the dome light on. And that's how he joined the podcast, you know, because that's how he rolls.
Okay. Well, he got the job done. Just
He
kudos-
sure did.
Kudos for that. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that's weird. That's the second person I had that did the show from their car in a parking lot. I think somebody did it from a Walmart parking lot one time.
I have done podcasts from a grocery store parking lot a couple of times, just because. Sorry, my camera's acting weird. Okay, I've done it a couple of times because I either didn't have connection or whatever. It was like a panicked last minute thing. But yeah, I've had to do it before, so it's fun.
Yeah.
What the things we do to get on the air.
Yeah.
We got to do what we got to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got to get the show done.
That's
You got to
right.
get it
That's-
done.
Just to be with these lovely people that we have in chat. Gotta do
Yes.
whatever we can.
Yes.
Great
Anyway.
group of people.
Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Happy frickin' Tuesday.
Yes.
And you know what? It's almost a week from Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's getting close down to the wire. So
Mhm.
if you haven't gotten your turkey yet, I do recommend you get it.
Yeah. And well,
Anyway.
my son was able, because he works for Universal, he works for Epic Universe in Orlando, and they gave away free turkeys to all of the employees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's like rock on. So
Awesome.
anyway, Melissa,
Yeah.
Ma'am.
we got to spend some time together earlier this month.
We sure did. And boy, was it fun. And
We had so much fun.
we had adventure after adventure. I mean, that's
Mhm.
probably the most adventuring I have done in a long stretch in a very long time. And to have so many things happen.
Yes.
That was just crazy,
I-
awesome.
Yeah,
But,
I do have to mention one thing. I'm called bougie a lot. And I
that's why we're
purposely
friends.
that exactly. So I brought an extra tent with a table, a generator, plugs for the hair care products, the curling irons, flat irons, whatever, and then
The
a makeup
tools of
light and mirror.
beauty. The tools of beauty. That's
Yeah.
what they are.
So that's how we got ready every day, to make sure that we look good.
Yeah.
And that's how we're rolling up in here.
Yeah. No one wants to see bedhead straight out of the tent when it's
Nope.
all while the moisture like clings, and then it's
Yeah.
terrible. You can't go on camera looking like that.
No. So we had a whole beauty tent.
We did. And the guys didn't seem to mind.
No.
I thought was, they were asking if we could do their hair and stuff.
I know.
Did anybody have hair long enough to do that?
Maybe one person did, but most of them had pretty short hair.
Yeah. And so we had fun.
Yeah.
But other than that,
it was good.
we had a lot of good adventures.
When you weren't out in the woods, you guys were playing makeup or something, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's what
kind of,
it
sort
was.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason why you can't look good rustic
That's
camping
right.
with no shower
Just
for a
because
week.
we're rustic camping without a shower doesn't mean we have to be uncivilized.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when we're going to be on camera every day.
That's right. Right. When someone's following you around, getting right in your face with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I sure hope I remembered to brush my teeth this morning.
Let me get that out of there.
Yeah.
You will forever have a piece of meat stuck between your teeth.
Right. Something. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
or
that
a
would be
leaf.
me. That would be my luck. And then the camera guy would just be happily filming and not even
Yep.
notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all you would see. That's all everybody would see.
Yeah. That's all I would ever know. Be like, I hate that film just because I have meat between my teeth.
Mm.
And you can't
That was-
reshoot it. Can't reshoot
No,
Nope.
you cannot. No, you cannot.
it. Yeah.
So, Melissa, tell us a little bit about how you got started in Bigfoot investigations.
Hmm.
Well, my father got me into Bigfoot because he was a Bigfoot fanatic from the time I was a little girl. So I knew about Bigfoot growing up, and I knew about where Bigfoot was supposed to live and what he was supposed to look like. And my dad had this book. I think it was a Reader's Digest book, and it was called "Strange Facts and Amazing Fiction" or something like that. And it had the famous Patterson Gimlin photo in it. And so I used to look at that picture all the time. I just thought that's so cool. And I wonder if one really exists. I just remember thinking that as a child looking at it. And so we would talk about Bigfoot, from time to time. We're a musical family. So my dad plays guitar, and we would sing songs about Bigfoot that he would make up and stuff. So, I mean, Bigfoot was just a thing. So that was, something that we talked about with my dad. So when, that was when I was little. And so when I grew into adulthood in 2004, we lost my mom. And then we lost her in the summer. And that fall, he came to me and said, I just want you to know that my interest in Bigfoot is still very much alive and well. And I've taken it to the interwebs. And I have found this organization. It's called the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, and they teach you how to look for Bigfoot. They go all over the country.
Really?
And they take you on an expedition, and they teach you how to look for Bigfoot. And I'm like, Dad, that is the coolest thing I have ever heard of. You should totally go do that. Mom would want you to do that. And so, and he's like, well, I don't, and I'm like, so you don't want to go by yourself, do you? He's like, not really. And I said, I will totally go with you. And so, so we went, and we took my brother too. And it was his birthday weekend. That's why my dad felt obligated to take him. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have taken him because he thought we were all nuts. I mean, he was just, he was like, he was tolerating it. My dad and I were totally getting into it. And so I met Matt Moneymaker before he was Mr. Hollywood. I met a bunch of really amazing people. I got to hear all these cool eyewitness sighting stories. And I had the best time. I was really expecting to meet a bunch of weirdos. I really was.
Yeah.
And so everybody was so normal and so cool. And I learned so much from so many people that I got hooked right away. So I ended up becoming an investigator after going on a couple of more expeditions with them. And it was my third expedition with them, which was in West Virginia, where I had something really remarkable happen. that I couldn't explain. We heard
Mhm.
this really loud Ohio type howl right on the ridge
Mhm.
behind us, made your hair stand up. And later that night, people had seen eyes shine and movement behind trees and this, that, and the other. And so that's when I really knew, okay, this isn't just made up. There's really something out there. And so from there, I did investigations with that group, and then I joined some other groups, and I went all over the country on different expeditions and had all kinds of experiences and met all kinds of awesome people.
Mhm.
And here I am today.
Awesome.
Is your brother as big into Bigfoot as you are?
My brother is not into Bigfoot at all. He still thinks I'm insane. So, so yeah. So my brother and I, there's three of us in the family. I'm the oldest of three, and my brother's 2 years younger than me, and my sister's 7 years younger than me. And so my sister is kind of like a nice mediator between the two of us, because my brother and I are like oil and water. We're complete opposites in every way.
Got it.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
For
Yeah. So you've been on some investigations, and how do they compare to what we did a couple weeks ago?
I've been on some really cool expeditions where some things have happened that I could not explain. But I've been doing this for just over 20 years now, and my eyes have been open to a lot of preconceived notions about what I thought Bigfoot was. And so in the last decade, I have swayed more to a different viewpoint than I had when I originally started out. So, what happened this past week in the LBL was very much more intense in a lot of the paranormal side of things than I have ever experienced before.
Yeah.
So it was pretty insane, pretty insane.
Yeah.
And so that level of intensity, it just took everything I've ever experienced up a few notches. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Me
what
too.
what do you think it is? Is it spiritual? Is it flesh and blood? What do you think?
let me start out by saying I know that I do not know what Bigfoot is.
Yeah.
I do
That's
not know.
fair.
Mhm.
And when I first started out 20 years ago investigating this and reading reports and talking to different people, I honestly felt like it was some sort of undocumented ape that
Mhm.
was, maybe a offshoot of the Gigantopithecus, or all the different theories that are floating around there. That's really what I kind of subscribe to, because that's what my research led me to believe. But the more I did it, and the more I had these experiences that were so strange that I couldn't explain, and the more I learned about um, all of the more paranormal or metaphysical parts of what Bigfoot could be, I was, and then interviewed very credible people that had these kinds of experiences, and then had experiences myself. I mean, I've had a few. Looking back now, I realize that's probably what it was, but at the time I just didn't know enough to know. But
Mhm.
now that I have experienced some things, especially this past week, it's just like a confirmation. Okay, I think there's more to Bigfoot than just being an undocumented animal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'll say, because I just, like I say on every podcast, I know that I don't know.
Yeah.
I am a student of Bigfoot. I do not know what he is. So I do think it's some sort of an animal, but I do think it has a lot of special abilities, and can use those abilities to
Mhm.
manipulate us, or manipulate the visual field, or any number of things. And perhaps there is the possibility of interdimensional ness to it. I mean, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm much more open to that now than I ever was when I first got into it, to having experienced all that I've experienced.
Do you think, when you first started and as you've kind of grown into this, Bigfoot Chick nickname.
Yeah.
Do you think that's opened you up to maybe seeing more of these creatures than you maybe would have before? Or possibly that they're showing themselves to you more than you ever thought.
Well, first, let me say that I have not seen with my naked eye what I would consider to be a Bigfoot creature. I
Okay.
have not seen one. I have experienced things that I feel based on the data that I have about what happens to people who have seen them and this,
Mhm.
that, and the other. I've had things happen to me that I feel are Bigfoot related. Like I was very close to one, but I didn't
Mhm.
actually see one, but maybe there was an infrasound experience. Maybe there was some sort of a, um, I've had a really weird orb experience. I mean, these kinds of things have happened. So, um, I can't say with any certainty that because I have started to experience some of these different things in the last, decade, that it's made me able to see more. I don't know. I don't know that I can fairly say that. But I think more, it's just that because I'm having more opportunities to experience all facets of this,
Mhm.
I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what kind of thing this might be. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's where I kind of am with it.
So they always say, and even in the Bigfoot cryptid world, paranormal world, they always say that you never expect to see something when you go in, and you're oftentimes disappointed.
Mhm.
Do you ever go into the woods, maybe not see anything, and get disappointed when you come out when maybe you were really hoping to see something?
I would say that by and large, that's most of the time.
Mhm.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, most
yeah.
of the time when I go in, I cannot say that when I go in, I'm going to have a Bigfoot experience. I mean, it just doesn't,
Hmm.
it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that. I'm wary of people that always seem to have those kinds of experiences
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I just don't think that it's that common. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-mm.
so I just, I don't know. I do. I'm a very empathic kind of person, and I can usually sense when I am no longer the biggest thing on the food chain.
Hmm.
I just have this feeling, and I can
Mhm.
an impression that I get that there's something out there, and so I have really learned to tune into that. So, and a lot of other really experienced investigators share that, and so a lot of
Yeah.
times we look at each other and we're like, can you feel that the air just changed? You know what I'm saying? That
Mhm.
something's different, and all of a sudden you feel like you're being watched or whatever. So those kind of things I feel like have developed over time just from being in the woods a lot,
Mhm.
and helped me to, navigate what might be a good research area and what might not be. I mean,
Hmm.
because if you don't really feel anything, and the woods are happy and chirpy and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other, there's probably nothing too exciting happening around you, and there's probably
Mm-mm.
not a visitor around. And if they are, they're way far away from you, and they don't want you to
Mhm.
see them or interact with them in any way. So that's just
Yeah.
kind of that's what that's where I feel I am with that.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
think going into the forest and doing an investigation or even doing a paranormal investigation, sometimes you get absolutely nothing. And
Hmm.
I think going in with the mindset of, I'm going to be positive, have an open mind and see what happens. Sometimes you don't get anything, but you have this beautiful experience where you're walking through the forest and it's just so peaceful.
Mhm.
So it's, you've got to look at all the wins and just be like, okay, all
Hmm.
right. Well, most of the time you get absolutely nothing and that's okay. I'd
Right.
rather be in the forest, walking around than just sitting at home watching TV.
But sometimes it happens all of a sudden too. It's like
Yeah.
you don't feel like there's anything around, because that happened to us when we were doing some filming with Greg in that cemetery up above the campground. Because
Oh, yeah.
we were up there and just sort of moving around and chatting, and it was a
Yep.
very peaceful kind of atmosphere that was happening. And then all of a sudden we all looked at Greg, and I think that's kind of when it hit all of us, because Greg
Mhm.
was kind of hunched over grabbing at the bridge of his nose, and we're like, are you okay? But at that moment before he answered, something was different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something felt
The air was
different
a
at that point.
little
The effort,
thicker,
it
a little
was.
heavier.
And so he kind of hunched over, and then he started walking like a drunk person. And, you know, the whammy was put on him. And so we had to, you know, physically help him back to the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time we drove away, his migraine, he was getting subsided and stuff. And so that kind of stuff happens
Mm-hmm.
in research all the time. But like I said, that was something that just kind of came up all of a sudden. We were, you know, it was kind of happy chirpy, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
it wasn't. You know, so it was, you know, it's just, but then again, you just kind of have to be open to feel that and feel that something's changing.
Absolutely.
JD Smooth has a really interesting question, and I have other questions started. We'll get to you guys here in a second, but this one really kind of was interesting to me. How are you ladies feeling after leaving the LBL? Most researchers, when they leave, they are always end up getting sick or something else happens. There's a very dark energy there, and so both of you two, what do you? How are you feeling after that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I have not been sick.
Mhm.
We had a moment of intensity where I did feel very nauseated when we were out doing some of the research right before we had a really intense encounter. I mean, they were around, and we knew they were around. We could hear them, and we could hear things happening. And I'm sure we'll go into that in a minute. But when it started to get really intense, I was standing out in front of the group off to the side. And I don't know if I was in a place of vulnerability or what, but I did start to get really nauseated,
Mhm.
and just feel kind of lightheaded for a minute. And so Natalie's like, stand behind me. And so I did, and she kind of blocked whatever whammy was being thrown at me. And then
Yeah.
and I did start to feel better. And then it happened to another girl who was with us, same exact
Mhm.
symptoms. And then we pulled her in, and we tightened up our group, and then everybody was fine.
Yeah.
But since I've been home, I haven't noticed anything. Uh, as far as dark entities and this, that, and the other, we were well warded by a number
Yeah.
of different procedures to make sure we didn't have anything follow us home or anything like that.
Right.
And as a person of faith, I pray for my house to be clear and this, that, and the other if I feel like I'm dragging something along with me. So I haven't had any problems at
Mhm.
all with that. I don't know about Natalie, but I think you've been fine, right?
Yeah, I've been fine other than a little tired, but
Yeah.
we did some sage, we had black salt, and then we also had some Palo Santo that we used. And also, to Melissa's point, you know, you say prayers, you really cleanse your body, you know, ask for a cleansing and really ground yourself.
Hmm.
And that's what we did on a regular basis, just so we wouldn't have anything dark attached to us or any of that energy linger with us. Because, you know, you're out there and you can feel things. You feel that there's something there, that there's a presence, and they're
Hmm.
projecting their energy onto you. And it's intense. And it can really, like, I felt like something was on my chest. I'm getting butterflies in my stomach. I feel like something's sitting on my shoulders. And that does that when you have that happen on a regular basis, day after day, it can weigh on you. But no, I was perfectly fine after I got home, other than just being tired from, you know, a few hours of sleep each night
Hmm.
because of all the noises that were being made in the middle of the night.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So great question. Thank you so
That was a
much.
really
Thank you,
great
JD.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
JD.
yeah, yeah.
Another one. Let's see here.
I know there was,
Another
yeah.
one from JD Smooth. They are from the Nephilim. This is when we're talking about physical or spiritual. They're from the Nephilim chain and have stronger DNA than others, I think, and they do have Nephilim DNA, but it's been diluted over the years. Some are more physical, and some are more spiritual.
Hmm.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. That is really a, you know, that was good.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
could very well be. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you
I
said,
mean,
who really knows?
Yeah, we
we
know
don't
that we
know.
don't know.
And you know,
Yeah.
I think I speak for everyone, is that the more that we share stories and share, you know, the ideas, the better we all are.
Mhm.
So definitely share away.
And that's what we always say about coming in with an open mind and everything. So that's why that's just so important to have an open mind when you're doing these researches. That goes with anything.
Yeah.
To accept other people's beliefs, and like JD said, I mean, that might not be everybody's belief, but we have to think about that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, tell us a little bit about your time in the LBL.
Um, Gosh, okay. There was just
I
so
know
much.
there's a lot. We've got time.
So on the very first day, that we got, I mean, when I first got there, we got there late. I had been up, it was a long drive. I'd been up the night before a lot. I hadn't had a lot of sleep. My son is in Japan, and I'm trying to talk with him and this, that, and the other. And anyway, long story short, I hadn't had a lot of sleep. And so it started
Mhm.
raining as soon as we pulled into
Oh,
the campground. So I said hi to everybody. And then I pretty much set up my tent and went to go take a nap, which turned into sleeping all night.
yeah.
So, and I apologize. I'm sorry, because I'm usually very social, but I was just so tired. And so it was raining, and I thought no one would be out. So it was probably safe to do that. But anyway, the next morning I get up. So I'm very refreshed because I've had like 13 hours of sleep at this point. And so we get up and we kind of just talk about what we're going to do for that day, and do a little bit of exploring here and there. And then that's when we met Tracy, right? Was she came that first day? Yeah,
Yes.
Tracy that first day. And
Tracy Jones, the
Tracy,
paranormal white witch. Yeah.
yes, and she's a third generation white witch, which I thought was very interesting. And she's also a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did a session with Trey's God helmet, and that's just the nickname of the helmet. It's got a real name, and I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember either.
But basically, it's a helmet that's got these like electrodes on it, and you put it on your head, and you have it on your head for 40 minutes. And for the
Mhm.
first 20, it gives you a low, safe electromagnetic pulse around your whole head, and it gets the left and right hemispheres of your brain talking to each other. And then the second 20 minutes, it's a focus pulse on the left side of your brain, where on the left amygdala, because that's the center of the brain that's activated when you have a really um, big spiritual or psychic kind of spiritual experience of some kind, or I don't know, otherworldly, maybe just some sort of unexplainable experience on that plane. That part of that center of the brain lights up when you have it. So the people that the scientists that came up with this or whatever tested all these things and thought, if we stimulate that left amygdala, maybe we can um, you know have people have these experiences or whatever. And I
Mm-hmm.
know Natalie did it while we
Yep.
were there, so she can maybe, if she wants to, tell you a little bit about that. But anyway, we had Tracy do that,
Mm-hmm.
and while she was under the helmet, we were all away. You have to stay away from the person because you don't want
Mhm.
anything to kind of contaminate the experiment. But there were cameras up, and she was being filmed while she was under the helmet, and she was talking and having a full-on conversation with somebody. And I turned to Trey and said, "Is that normal?" He's like, "Nope." And so we're like,
Yeah.
okay. And I couldn't really understand what she was saying because I was a distance from her. But
Mhm.
she was having a very calm, animated
Mhm.
discussion with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so that ended. And then they did, what is it called, the Estes protocol? Is that what it was?
Estes
Yes,
method.
this method. Yeah.
Estes method. And they did that next. And while she was doing that, a lot of times when people do that Estes method, it seems like they're having a conversation, but it's not always conclusive if they're actually talking
Right.
to an entity of some kind or not. Okay, there was hands down no question that they were having a full-on
Mhm.
discussion, and the timing of question and response was just like this. It
Mhm.
was crazy.
That is
And
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
so prior to us meeting her on her way here, or on her way to the campground, she had been seeing these two young women, teenagers, and they weren't speaking to her, but they were, I think she said
Oh.
they were like trying to get her attention or
Mm-hmm.
something. And she was aware
Yep.
of them. She saw them on the plane. She saw them in her hotel room. And maybe she saw them on the campground while we were there. I wasn't sure. But anyway, when she was doing the Estes method, I was in my tent. Natalie, you were at the campfire, right? And then the rest of
Mm-hmm.
most everybody was off doing other stuff. And two of our
Right.
guys were further down the campground. And my tent was in close proximity to where she was. So I was
Mm-hmm.
probably the closest camper to her where
Mm-hmm.
she was doing all this. And all of a sudden I hear her um just become hysterical. She
Yeah.
just
Oh.
became hysterical. And she was crying, and she took on the voice of a much younger female. And she's like, I'm sorry, mommy, I'm sorry, it's my
Hmm.
fault. She's just really just distraught, and just
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, is she okay? Just like, I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't should we go check on her? I mean, I'm like, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what to do at that point. So I just kind of listened, because Trey was there and he seemed to have it in hand. Trey was amazing at how he conducted the session. And it became clear that she was channeling one of these young women.
Mm-hmm.
And so through all of this, something was happening. And then we heard a gunshot go off, and it sounded like it went off right
That's
in
right.
camp. It went right in camp. And I was really close to the campfire, and I'm like, good gosh, who's firing in the camp? And
Yeah.
so anyway, I freaked out, because I knew one of our security guys would not have let that stand, and I waited for him to come up barreling through there, and he didn't. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I'm like, okay, maybe he wasn't concerned about it then. And then so I just stayed in my tent. I think I was in my tent fixing my hair or makeup, because I was next to be filmed. I think that's why I was in there. And so anyway, I just went about my business. And then a little bit later, she became more and more and more hysterical. And there was another gunshot, and I swear it was right in camp.
I'm
And then,
standing by the fire,
yeah,
and it was right here, as if a gun was shot twice, right here by my ear, to the
right.
point that we thought somebody put explosives in the fire.
Yeah, it
But
was
then you
crazy.
smelled,
But
didn't you?
then I thought, gosh, that sounded so close. And then I didn't think anything of it until I started to smell gunpowder. I could smell
Mm-hmm.
the gunpowder. And
Oh.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And then
Yeah.
I think it was shortly after that I finally came out of the tent, because I'm like, something is going on. And
Yeah.
about that time, their session wrapped up. And we all went to check on her. Her husband was there, and everybody was, taking care of her. But anyway, come to find out, she had channeled one of these young women, and there were two teenagers, 14 and 16 years old, who were kidnapped from Tennessee in 1980 and taken to the LBL, and they were murdered. They were shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I it is my belief that she channeled the entire experience, and that what we heard were the gunshots.
Yeah.
It was crazy, because I think her husband looked up the case and they found a picture of the two girls, and she's like, that's them, those are the
Hmm.
girls. And so it was
Mm-hmm.
just crazy. But I think
It
she kind of
was.
she was able to uncover the murderers, I believe.
And
um
it was
so
so intense,
it was
and
really
the
intense.
emotion was intense, and I mean,
Hmm.
it brought me to tears.
Yeah,
And
it was
because it
crazy.
was it was when, like, when you see somebody just overwhelmed with emotion,
Hmm.
and it was anguish, and it was just fear. I mean, my heart, my stomach,
Hmm.
I mean, everything was in a knot. I had to excuse myself. I went and got tissues, wiped my eyes, because I had to calm down. Then I
Hmm.
grabbed tissues. And when she was done, I brought her some tissues. But, of course, you'll see the rest of all of that in the
Hmm.
film, which is going to be exciting. And it's going to be
Yes.
released the end of 2026. So make sure
A
you go
long
and see
wait.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about the God's helmet, though. Some people have really fantastic encounters or
Mhm.
experiences with it. Some people have just horrific, like what was experienced there.
Right.
Um, you know, I I was lucky enough to have a fantastic experience, and now I don't know that I would ever do that again, just because I don't want anything
You
to
don't
ruin
want a bad one.
right. So I
Yeah,
mean, a couple people have mentioned that they want to do the God's helmet, and I said, go for it,
yeah.
but just be
Yeah.
careful. Just be
Yeah,
careful with.
I was not quite, I hadn't quite worked up my courage to do it. Maybe I will one time, but I just kept telling Natalie and other people, I'm okay with not actually seeing dead people. So I don't I don't want that to be a side effect of me having that session. So,
Yeah.
maybe it won't. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't not
Yeah,
that happens to people, but I'm just like
yeah.
I'm really okay with uh, with my lack of understanding.
I've heard a few, and Greg was one of them at Ray County Museum one time that he had the God's helmet on. He actually saw aliens in the building with
Yeah,
us.
for sure.
So I mean, you never know what I mean. Nothing's really, I guess you never
everybody's
know.
everybody's
Exactly.
experience appears to be very, very unique. So
Hmm.
Mine
anyway,
was.
and as Trey
Yeah.
explained to us, doing these things in an area of high strangeness, doing the helmet and the Estes method, if there is something in the area, it can kind of be the catalyst to bring on more activity, or so is thought. So
Hmm.
that was the reason for having her, do that. And I think she even got more than she bargained for with that whole experience.
Very much.
Yeah,
Very
for
much.
sure. So,
But I think it was just so profound. And I think it was a great way to start off our
yeah,
week.
yeah.
And it set the tone. And then I'll let you go forward from there.
Yeah, so that was my day one. And I was like, and remember, I'm basically a Bigfoot girl.
Hmm.
so so I have a healthy appreciation and respect for paranormal stuff. I mean, I have encountered a little bit of it here and there, or what I know now probably was a paranormal experience. Um and my husband used to do ghost hunting with his friends. So I'm familiar with
Hmm.
all of that. But that was my first up close and personal experience with something like that. And I was like, wowzers. It's not like I was
Hmm.
eased into it. That was like you know, the big mother of all experiences right there. So I'm like, I was just so blown away by the intensity of that. And when I realized that those gunshots were probably manifested by her through her experience, I was just like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. And
It's like,
yeah,
I know. And it's almost like,
yeah.
all right, what's next?
Yeah, I know. And so yeah, it kind of psyched us up. We were like, okay, what's happening next? And
Hmm.
what did
You know,
happen next, Natalie? I don't
the
even
next time I go into a haunted location or the woods or whatever, and anything happens, I'm just gonna think of that. Wowzers!
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I,
I was.
I love that. That's gonna be my new word from now on.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wow.
Wowzers. Sorry, I heard that and
That's okay.
I got derailed a little bit.
That's okay.
Squirrel. Sorry.
I have some. I'm Southern. I got some weird ones.
Sorry.
Anyway, Matt, I have what did we do next? I don't remember.
So we went to that area where there was that blob.
Oh, yes. Okay. So it was another cemetery. You see a theme here? It's a
There's
lot
a
of
ton of cemeteries there
lot of
too.
cemeteries, but Bigfoot stuff is reported around cemeteries a lot of times,
Dogman.
and
Yep.
a lot of the
Yeah.
so I'm not. It's not unusual for me to be researching for Bigfoot in a cemetery, so I wasn't freaked out by it or anything.
Hmm.
So we went, and immediately we started seeing some orbs and things through the trees. Now they were small, and they weren't like, I personally did not see anything big and free moving.
Hmm.
Like what I consider a real cool orb, like I have seen before. Like,
Hmm.
like that's an orb. You don't have to be, a scholar of such things to go, that's weird. And I've never seen that before. That's a ball of light just moving around in the air. It wasn't like that. It was just like some were like pinpricks of light. Some were a little bit bigger than pinpricks, but they were definitely manifesting themselves around us. And I don't know if that was paranormal or if it was just an atmospherical thing. I'm guessing it was probably paranormal, but I don't know. But while we were there, there let's see, we had two guys that were standing around us, and they saw a blobby thing that was
Yeah.
on their, was it night vision or did they have a thermal?
They just saw something and they
Yeah.
called it a blob. A
Right.
blob moved.
Yes.
And
And
we're like,
and I think I looked through and could see it. I looked through, I don't know. I don't know that it was, I think it was thermal. It was a thermal and it was
I
like
it could
kind
have
of
been.
a blob. But while that was happening, I think he said something came up to his ear and said, "Hey," and then pulled on the back of his hoodie, pulled
Hoodie.
it.
Yep.
And I would have been like, nope, 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 I'm leaving. Bye. And so, but he was just like, yeah, he goes, I have never had that happen to me ever. And he's a Bigfoot hunter. He was not really a paranormal guy. So, so he's like, if something pulled, and he was a big guy, and somebody,
Yeah.
pulled the back of his hoodie and pulled him. So he physically had to take a step back. And, so that was weird. And then the blob itself was unexplainable. And I think I did look through their thing and I could see it and I couldn't really make sense of what I was looking at. So that's when you said, Melissa, go talk to the blob. So I did. So I went up and talked to the
Oh,
blob and
oh,
said,
did she ever?
I kind of tried to date it a little bit. So I just said,
Oh,
hey, I'm Melissa. I'm an Aries and I'm a natural leader. I'm really big on adventure. And I love long walks on the beach. And I really
love
love
it.
reading romantasy smut. I really love that. And so anyway,
And so I asked her out on a date after that, and the blob didn't
yes,
get a chance. And then
that's fine.
and
And
here we are.
And so I'm sad to say that I was rejected by the blob. The blob did not engage with me at all. So
Right. The
I
blob
don't,
was just like, you know what? Don't care.
yeah. And I was honestly, I was a little offended. I mean,
Right.
I was like,
Maybe the blob was more into Tim.
that's what I'm thinking. That's what
I'm
I'm
thinking
thinking. That it
the
had,
blob was waiting on
yeah.
Tim to come
Tim was the
over.
guy who was pulled, that was pulled
Yes,
by
Tim
this.
was the guy. So Tim, big guy, and he got pulled. So I think Blobby was after
Yeah,
Tim.
I think
Was
you're
like,
right.
hey, big guy.
And I was standing in front of Tim at that point, so it's probably
Mm-hmm.
pissed off that I was blocking the view. I don't know.
Yeah.
Greg, please tell me you got that hitting on the blob. Please tell me you got that.
I don't know if he did.
I personally didn't have a recorder going, but a lot of people did, so I'm sure it's on somebody's somewhere. We'll figure it out.
It was
But
so funny.
yeah,
Dating a
I
blob,
I
no
have no
go.
shame a lot of the time, and I just kind of go
And
with
that's
what
beautiful.
feels right, and
It
just
does. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know anything. Part of it was I didn't really know what to do because I'm in this paranormal realm, and I'm like, well, maybe this is a thing, and it will respond to me if I talk to it and want to date it or something.
Yeah. And
So,
you know what? Again, you try try it. If
yeah,
it works, great. If it doesn't, we just move on to the next thing.
yeah, yeah. And then
And
we didn't stay too much longer after that in that
no,
location, did
we
we?
didn't.
It's
We
okay.
didn't.
So,
No.
'cause we couldn't really elicit any real engagement with
No.
anything at that point. So we were
We
like,
did see some movement, but it turned out it was pigs.
that's
Wild
right.
pigs.
That's right. It was wild
Yep.
pigs. And,
Yep.
those are kind of mean. So we didn't want to stay around and tango with them because they're mean.
They
Um,
are. They're
yeah,
mean. They're
yeah,
tasty, but they're mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So that was that night. And
Yes.
then what was the third night, the singing night, the night we sang, the night
So
we serenaded
yes.
the
So that's
squatches?
when we went
Okay.
in with Martin.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. We go into this, it's another cemetery, y'all.
I know.
We go
There's
into
tons of
another
cemetery.
cemetery, and this is an area where the last time they went to the LBL to film a documentary, they had like incredible encounters. I mean, they actually all of them like saw the creatures and they came
Mm-hmm.
out, they saw their red eyes glowing. I mean, it was crazy. They're standing in front of their car. I mean, I was like, OMG, is that really going to happen to us if we go down there? So um, we're going down there,
Mm-hmm.
and here was the plan. Now, Mr. Martin is so sweet. He's the sweetest man ever. And
Absolutely.
Natalie was driving, and Mr. Martin was in the passenger seat, and then
I
me
know.
and me and Greg and Adam were in the back seat, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. So we were in two cars. It was us and then our Delta Force, and our Delta Force were our, that's what we nicknamed them, because
Yes.
they were our protectors, because we're going into this super high danger situation and they were there to protect us. And
Hmm.
it was so hot. Okay, anyway,
It was.
so anyway,
Whoo.
yeah, whew, it got a little hot up there. But
Yeah.
we so as we're pulling in, the plan was we were going to go in first and get out of the car, kind of meander around, get acclimated on the road, and then start
Hmm.
walking up the hill towards the wood line. So we would be walking through the cemetery up towards the wood line where these creatures supposedly were the last time.
Yeah.
And so while we were walking up to kind of engage, Delta Force was supposed to come in about 10 minutes later, right about the time we went up, they were supposed to be coming in to kind of have our back.
Hmm.
Well, that didn't actually happen. so we went up. Well, we followed Martin. Martin was just Mr. Let's go, So
Yeah.
he starts walking up the hill, and we didn't have any choice but to follow him. So we followed him up, and the air felt really heavy. It felt like there were things around. It just kind of
Hmm.
I felt like a lot of tightness in my chest, and
Yeah.
I just felt there were things around. I
Yeah.
didn't feel like we were alone up there.
No.
And so me and Natalie and Martin and Adam were the only ones, just kind of walking up there. And then our cameraman, Greg, was there, and he was just kind of filming what was happening around. And so Martin decides to start calling them in. So he's whistling and doing stuff. And Martin knows this area and knows these
Hmm.
creatures really well because he's been researching this area for a very long time. Um, and so he did all the things that he usually does to get them to come in. And so we did see some movement here and there. We did think
Yeah.
we could see some orbs here and there.
Hmm. Yeah.
And like I said, there was a very clear and defined feeling that we were not alone, that there were things
No.
up there. But I didn't really feel threatened, and I didn't really feel super uncomfortable.
No.
So we weren't really getting a lot of the response that we were expecting, like they did last time, because the last
Right.
time they were there, I think they just got out of the car and things started coming at them.
Right.
I don't think they really even had to call them in. I think they just
Right.
came to
Right out
them.
of the gate. They got out of the vehicles and there was a Bigfoot in front of the truck,
Right, which is
standing there growling.
crazy. And
Yeah.
and then also to say, the moon was extremely bright that night. It was like
Oh, yeah.
it was the night after the big super moon or whatever had just happened. So it was really, really bright. And
Oh, yeah.
I think that does impact. It seems like in the past, when I've gone out on a full moon or a moon that's almost full, it seems like it does impact um, if you're going to have any activity or not, really, at
Yeah.
least anything up close, because I think they tend to push further back because they're not hidden. That moon lights up the forest. And
Right.
so anyway, we were dealing with that too. So it was hard to tell, but I thought I saw some movement, and some others saw it too. We did see a few orbs. So anyway, we start, you know, I think they were whistling and doing some calls and this, that, and the other. Nothing was happening. I said, "Well, can I howl?" Because
Hmm.
I'm a
Yeah.
woman. I'm a woman, and the rest of you are just guys howling. Let me try howling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have a really long and really high and powerful howl, and so I did it. And as soon as I did it, a bunch of coyotes went off in the ridge. But apparently, there were people talking, so I didn't hear at the very beginning of that. Apparently, a squatch responded and then started up the coyotes
Yes.
going off, because at that point,
Yes.
Martin was saying he felt that they were coming towards us at that point. That three,
Right.
I think he said three more are running here to join up with whatever's here. And
Yeah.
so at that point, our Delta Force finally pulls up, and I'm like, oh, just in time, because we're about we're about to get tackled by 3 Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So anyway, they come in and Adam turns around and says, guys, get up here as quick as you can. And so they literally jump out of the truck. They're in full army gear. They've got their helmets, their goggles, they've got their long guns, and they are coming up that hill on either side and flanking us. And I'm like, man, is it hot in here? I'm like, woo, okay, sorry,
Okay,
honey,
boys.
but that was hot. So,
right.
but anyway, yeah, and so they've got us well guarded. So at that point, I don't feel threatened at all, by anything. And so, so they at that point we're like, what do we do? Should we go a little further in? And so, we're trying to figure out what to do. And the guys, Martin and them were saying, why don't one of the ladies go up and touch that tree? And as soon as that was spoken out loud, I could feel my empathic nature went off. I could feel our Delta Force collectively saying, no, that they didn't want
Don't
us
do
going
it.
up there.
Yeah.
And so I said, they didn't say it out loud, but I could hear it being screamed in my mind. And so I said, Natalie, I don't think it's a good idea for us to go up there by ourselves. We could go together up there. And so we did. And Natalie's like, should we just keep going? Should we just trust? And I put my hand on her shoulder and said, that's far enough, Natalie.
I was ready to go. I'm like, let's just go.
Yeah, I said,
it's fine.
Let's speak softly but carry a big stick, Natalie. Let's not go too far.
Can I pet that dog?
Right. And so somebody's got to protect you. So anyway, we were up there and we started to Adam said, sing, Melissa. And so we started singing You Are My Sunshine, because I come to find out that's the only song that Natalie knows.
The only one I know. The only one.
So we start singing You Are My Sunshine. And then I'm like, okay, come on, Natalie, we got to do something different. It's early, something else. She's like, I don't know anything else. I was like, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Everybody knows Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It's non-threatening. Let's sing it. So we did. And then I think we were humming something else along. We never stopped the feminine singing, humming thing that was happening there. And what happened was the feeling of intensity definitely relaxed while we were there. And so Martin was saying that he felt that this was a different group than had been there before. He didn't think they'd ever seen women before. He felt a mother vibe coming off of them, like they saw us as mother figures or whatever. I'm like, well, that's good, because we are. And so anyway, it was just a very peaceful, interesting experience, but nothing too out of the ordinary. As far as, it was definite that they were there. There was some sort of a howl that I didn't catch because someone was talking, but I heard the coyotes respond, that respond to my howl. But it I don't know, it's just really interesting. And did something happen after that? I can't remember.
No, we did leave a flashlight there.
That's right, we left a flashlight
there. And so we just kind of, after that, because you had this feeling of intensity, and we started singing, and then it just went very, very calm. And then nothing.
Yeah, I just felt like they were really curious at that point about
they were like, that is so cool that they're singing.
Yeah.
And I think they were entertained, and thank you, Mark.
No, they weren't scared. We sing nicely, so I don't think
we do.
I don't
it's
think
not like Metallica, right, Mickey? Why was it? We weren't jamming out to Metallica or anything, or Alice in Chains. So it was fine.
Yeah. So it was a really peaceful experience. And I do, like I said, I didn't hear or see anything too out of the ordinary, but nothing like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. It wasn't that kind of a night. So it was a little bit different than what was painted. Because on the way in, I think I even said out loud, after Martin told us all the terrible things that might happen to us, I said, should I call my husband now and tell him goodbye? Because I didn't know it was going to be this dangerous, so anyway, it was fun. But so anyway, it was a very, very cool experience. But like I said, nothing super, super intense that I couldn't write home about, which happened 2 days later. So I don't remember what happened the very next day. What did we do the very next day?
We went up in the graveyard, up in the
that's
right
when Greg
above
got
base
sick.
camp.
That's when Greg got sick. Okay, so that's when Greg got really sick. Greg got really, really sick. We had done Kristen did some dowsing rods, and it was based on everything that was being communicated with that. It was clear that there was a Sasquatch in the area. And then it was shortly after that Greg got really sick.
Wow.
Really sick.
And I said, it makes sense that they would target Greg because he had gotten targeted. I guess, he gets targeted again later in our trip, and it makes sense that he would get targeted because he's the cameraman, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, they don't like those cameras. And so it was just, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about your experience on the big night.
On the big night. Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear this one.
Okay. On the big night, we go back to that same cemetery where we were singing, because this is where, previously they had that intense encounter and seen everybody in the group saw them and heard them and everything. And so they said, okay, girls, we're not going to go in and be all sweet and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Now, I should preface that it was just me and Natalie and Adam and Martin that went the first time. So the second time, there were 6 women that went. It was me and Natalie and 4 other girls. And then we had Martin with it. Was Martin with us?
No, it was
No,
Jim.
Martin was not. That's right. It was
Jim with a camera, and
Jim
then Greg
Greg
with a
had
camera.
cameras. That was it. So we just had 2 cameramen, and we had 6 women. And then we did have a backup plan, but it was a different Delta Force that came in to be there on the ready if we needed them. But they said, okay, we're not going to come in all sweet and hold hands and be kumbaya. We want you to go in, stand your ground, and kind of challenge them, be really forceful with your calls and everything. And so we did, we went in and just, I walked up, put my hands on my hips and just stared squarely into that space and said, here I am, deal with me. And, and then Natalie did this, she started just this really aggressive kind of howl or growl or something. And, she did that. And all of a sudden, oh my goodness, this boom, boom, boom. And it just, I don't know how to describe it, you guys. It was the weirdest thing and the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. It sounded like it was coming up off the ridge, but also around us on either side of us in the forest. And you could feel it in your chest, and you could feel it in your feet. You could feel it in the ground. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom. And the way I have been describing it to other people I've been talking about the experience with, it sounded like somebody that was colossal in size picking up an oak tree and repeatedly slamming an oak tree on the ground.
Right.
It was that loud and that intense.
Jamie was with us. Jamie, who you just put up on the screen, she was with us, and she just said it sounded like they were running down, but it was just
it was crazy. And then it did seem to kind of change a little bit. It's the intensity and the sound and the level, the decibel of sound did not change, but the timbre changed a little bit. And it sounded more like a Native American drum. And it became more rhythmic. It was like bum, 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 bum. So it changed, and then we're just like, oh my goodness, I think they're coming in. So we were all just kind of like standing there, like I was fully waiting for them to emerge and come out of the woods at that point. I thought we've done it, we've called them in, and so anytime we would howl or do a growl like that, like a like that, it would start up again. And it was really intense. And then at some point, we were like in the middle of the graveyard, and so I was kind of standing off to the side from the main group, a little away from them, maybe 2 or 3 steps out from the group. And that's when I started to feel sick. I started to get a little bit and it wasn't horrible. I wasn't about to fall out or throw up, but I just got nauseated and I got a little lightheaded. And so that's when Natalie said, move behind me. So I did, and that seemed to help. And then later, Jamie, the girl that you guys were just talking about, the same thing happened to her. and we pulled her in, and then she started to feel better. I think it dissipated and went away.
Mhm.
And so while we're looking and watching and experiencing all this, because it did kind of die down for a minute, but the second we started to howl or growl or something, it would start up again.
Mhm.
Natalie and I both saw a light, like a door opening, kind of like the light that you see, like if you're in a dark room and somebody cracks a door open and you see that ray
Mhm.
of light come in. It was kind of like that. It was I
Mhm.
saw it like from behind a tree shine down on the ground, and she saw it too. And it wasn't super bright. You had to be looking for it, but I
Mhm.
did see it open. And then at that point, Natalie had a clear view that she saw something kind of emerge from that light. And then she saw another thing emerge, and then another thing emerge. And there were like three of these things down close to the ground. And I could see the three shapes. But I don't see super well at night. And so not clearly like she does, because I have a cataract in one of my eyes. And so but I had my glasses on, so I had the best vision I could possibly have that at night. I didn't have my contacts in, they get all nasty when you're camping. And so so I was watching really carefully to see what was happening. And she said that she could see them kind of doing this, where they were kind of on their knees and
Mm.
kind of
Oh,
doing
wow.
this kind of thing. And I could tell that there might be some movement, but I couldn't see that perfectly done like she
Mhm.
did.
Mhm.
And so anyway, about that, we're talking about what we see. Everybody with a thermal is looking, and they can't find anything. There's nothing there, which is unnerving. You can't see
Yeah.
anything. And so there's nothing there, but we can all kind of see those three shapes up there. And so then our cameraman Greg turns around to that direction, and he lets out a very masculine, low, deep rah, 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 like three times in a row, and just does it. And then I think the beats did start up again, and then we kind of turned around. We were all kind of facing more into each other, kind of looking at each other, going, "What do we do now?" You know, kind of thing. What do we?
Mhm.
What should we do? Should we go further up? You know, we're trying to figure out what we should do next. And then at that moment, after we just discussed a few things, all of a sudden, Greg screams and jumps out of the way. He's like, "Oh my gosh!" And he jumps back and goes, "There it is!" And so he turns, and I can't see him because I'm still behind Natalie, and I'm a whole head taller than Natalie, and
Who
so
isn't?
I
Hey.
know I'm tall for a woman. She's short for a woman, and so but we're on a hill, so she's got an advantage, a height advantage. So I can't see completely around her. And so Greg jumps out of the way. He has his camera rig in his right hand, quickly changes to the left and goes down to draw his gun, because there's something charging at him. And so so one of those shapes starts charging at him, and Natalie sees it. I can't see this happening because I've been looking all around different ways until I hear him yell. And then Natalie goes forward and goes down, and I'm like, "Oh crap, she's being sucked into the void." And so and so I go down to catch her, and then and she's just down spraying bear spray is what she's doing. And so it's like a 20-foot stream, and I see the stream go off. And so it's bear spray. So at that point, we all have to retreat back because,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
it's bear spray.
It's intense.
And
Yeah.
it is intense. And so, but what they said they saw, and I'm sure she can go into more detail about it, was
Yeah.
this crawler thing crawling with spindly arms on the ground like this towards them. Definitely doesn't fit a Bigfoot description,
Mm-mm.
doesn't fit
No.
any dogman description I've ever heard.
Mm-mm.
And so, uh, what the description that it fits, because I started researching after the experience, is a
Yeah.
rake.
Yeah.
So so I
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I just thought that was really, really interesting and incredibly intense, because we were
Yes.
really
Yeah.
close to it. So
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 what's going through your head when you're realizing all this stuff is going on and something that you can't see is coming at you?
I was really calm at that point, because when the shit hits the fan, excuse my French for any children listening,
That's
when
fine.
That's okay.
when it hits the
They got to learn
fan,
somehow.
um, I go into that, fight or flight mode, and I fight. And so I was not letting my friends get sucked into the void at that point. And so I was ready to grab Natalie because I wasn't sure what was happening because she kind of went down in front of me. And so I was ready to grab her. I wasn't sure what I was going to do about Greg if he was gone, but I was trying to
He's
formulate
on
a
his
plan.
own.
I was trying to
You're on your
formulate
own.
I was trying to formulate a rescue plan, if something, I'm like, what do I do to save these people? You're
Yeah.
not getting sucked into the abyss. It's not
I
Save the
know.
happening.
little
My,
ones
It's-
my
first.
friend had me.
Yeah,
My friend
yeah.
had my back.
So anyway, yeah, that's what was going through my mind. I really wasn't frightened. I was just like assessing the situation as quickly as possible. I'm like,
Right.
how do I get everybody out of here?
Right.
So
Mhm.
anyway, fortunately, the thing retreated with the bear spray, and so we retreated the other way. But man, it didn't stop, did it? We kept howling. That
No.
those booms kept going off.
Oh.
It was crazy. It was intense. And then we
And then
heard
that,
there was a howl behind us,
yeah.
and a dog barking behind us, there was no dog. There was nobody living back there. We're in the middle of nowhere.
No.
So
It was
it was strange.
so
It was really strange.
weird.
But yeah,
And yeah, we did. We stood our ground. And
Mhm.
I mean, we weren't backing down until, of course, the bear spray. And of
Yeah.
course, we had to retreat,
yeah.
which I think at that point they retreated, we retreated, and they almost were like, now we have the upper ground.
But the thing that stays with me, Paul, through that experience was that beating sound.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that before. I've
Yeah.
heard of that happening, but I have never experienced it. And
Right.
that until you experience that, there, because I can't do it justice. I can't really
Right.
describe it and do it justice. It was like you had to be there and live it. But it was just I had PTSD from that I did take away from me. Somebody had that question, because whenever I heard a bump, I would like turn and like, what was that? Because
Mm-hmm.
it was so funny because when Sean dropped me off to my husband, we were standing leaning against his we had just left, the LBL, and we were back home, and we were standing with our heads or with our backs against the his Jeep, and there was some sort of thud or boom that happened with a car on the other side of where he lives, and our heads were like on a swivel. We both, and my
Mhm.
husband just
Yeah.
died laughing. He goes, "I can tell you guys have been in a really high place about because it both was
Yeah.
like, what happened, And
Yeah.
so it was crazy. But yeah,
And
but the next morning, you guys, it keeps going. The next morning, I'm in my tent. I'm always the last to get out of bed because I like to sleep. So I'm in my tent. They're all around the campfire, la 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 la, egging me on, trying to get me to come out of my tent. So I'm in there. I'm getting dressed, and what do I hear off in the distance? Boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
It's the same
Mhm.
sound, but it's way off in the distance. I
Yeah.
can hear it though. And so I said, Natalie, can you come to my tent for a minute, please? And so, because they're all having breakfast and doing their thing and they're laughing and whatever. And I knew they probably couldn't hear it because they're cutting up over there. And I said, can you just come over here? And she said, yeah. And so she comes up to my tent, and I said, you don't have to come into my tent because I'm getting dressed, but could you go stand at the back of my tent and just listen? And so she did, and it goes off again. And I'm like, tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me you can
Yeah.
hear that. And she said, oh, yeah, I hear it. And we could hear it over there
Yep.
earlier. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, okay, crazy.
Yeah. And
So,
Kristen in her tent heard it as well. But
yeah.
one thing that I forgot about that Greg just brought up is as we're sitting there after we retreated, we heard this car with
Oh,
music.
yes, that was so
Wow.
weird. That was
It
so
was
weird.
like,
We
what
thought
is
somebody was
that?
coming down to join us. We thought someone was coming down the road to join us. It
Right.
sounded like a
Nothing was
motor,
there.
and it sounded like a car motor, but with somebody that had the music going. And that also gets reported in Bigfoot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept waiting for it to come and waiting for it to come, and it never did. And it was so strange. That was part of that same
And
that's what we were treated.
we were in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
30 minutes away from a road that you could really
Mhm.
travel on. The
Mhm.
where we were backwoods dirt roads, like you had to have a truck to get back there, and there was no car.
Yeah.
No truck came by. I mean, there was one long road in and nobody was down that road. And I'm
I mean,
going,
there were several of us that had just
Wow.
walked to the edge of all the cars and were waiting for that, whatever it
Right,
was, to come
yeah,
down there. And it never came. It was
no,
so strange. It was
it
so
was
strange.
What kind of
very
music
weird.
was it playing? Did you
I don't know. It
recognize it?
wasn't Stairway to
Was it
Heaven.
stereo?
It
Okay.
wasn't Stairway to
It
Heaven.
So it
wasn't.
wasn't
And
cool.
it,
Anything.
it,
Okay.
it didn't sound like rap or anything. I'm not
Oh, well,
sure. I'm not
that's
sure
good
what it
then.
was, but it was,
So,
but definitely music of some kind,
Hmm.
muffled, like in a car that's driving
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
so two questions here. JD has one, but I want to kind of piggyback off this one. So, do you think being sick was from fear or infrasound? And also, you guys had such a crazy, wild experience with everything that went on. Did you guys have any weird nightmares or dreams since you've been home?
I have had one weird dream since I've been home.
That was related to anything that was happened there?
It had absolutely nothing to do with LBL. But I don't usually have like these lucid dreams that I remember that are strange, and I did have
Hmm.
one. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I truly, the fear, in my opinion, it was more disbelief than fear. And so the thing is infrasound we experienced in some shape or form pretty much every day. And so somebody was getting sick, and as soon as we would leave that area, we would be fine. So I'm 99% sure it was not fear, it was infrasound.
Mhm.
But it is a great question. And but yeah, it was just, and no, I didn't have any weird dreams, but I have been so exhausted since I've gotten
Mhm.
back.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely not fear. I was not scared at that point. I was on alert, but
Hmm.
I was not scared at that point.
Right.
And so, I
Right.
mean, I was at that assessing stage. I'm like, if this happens, I'll do this. If this happens, just trying to make a plan for myself. But
Yeah.
I was not, I was very much on alert, but not frightened at that point. I was
Right.
more in awe of anything. I was just like, I can't
Right.
believe that I'm actually, witnessing this. And then
Yeah.
as far as, I mean, I believe that it probably was infrasound. I have
Hmm.
had three other experiences that I consider to be infrasound that were nothing like this instance, where I got sick. And if you infrasound was first discovered by people working with elephants, and they would report nausea, vomiting, passing out, all these different things that the infrasound caused um,
Hmm.
humans working in close proximity to the elephants. But when I had these three other experiences, one of them, it was one of those things where I was leading a group into the forest. I was walking down a gravel forest service road. I was we weren't like in a straight single file line, but we were walking in a line, and I
Hmm.
was in the front, and I was happy and excited about going down to lead people to this cemetery to check out
Funny.
all these things that were happening there. There'd been a history of Bigfoot sightings there, and I describe it as walking it into a wall of fear. Like all of a
Mm.
sudden, I got terrified, like terrified,
Wow.
and so I was like. My heart was racing. I was starting to sweat, and I was really freaking out. And like a second before, it's like somebody flipped a switch. A second before, I was fine. I mean,
Yeah.
there was no reason to do that. And then really long story short, my dad was behind me and there were four other guys behind him, and we walked up into the cemetery. I had to talk myself down off of this scare of like, you're just freaking yourself out, you're just freaking yourself out, you're okay,
Hmm.
be tough, you're fine, what I'm saying. And so I, because I was walking all these guys in, and I wasn't about to be a girl in front of all of them, right? So
Right.
I walk up into the cemetery with my dad. It was really, really cold too, and we all had
Mm.
those hunter jumpsuits on. We look like Sasquatches with our hats and stuff. So we were in there, and two of the guys had night vision. And this was before thermals were. Everybody carried a thermal. This was before that. And so,
Mhm.
so we went in there, we sat for a while, nothing happened. I made some calls and knocks, nothing happened. And then when I stepped down out of the cemetery to take my dad back to the fire, because he was getting really cold, I stepped down, got onto the road and started walking, and then turned and realized he wasn't behind me. And he was turned and looking behind him. And I said, "What are you
Mhm.
doing?" He goes, "Oh, I thought somebody was coming with us." And I said, "Well, there's nobody there. Come on." And so he walked up next to me, and we walked shoulder to shoulder all the way back down across the road and into the campfire so that we could get warm. And
Mhm.
so later the guys stayed behind while we did that. They said they just wanted to hang out a little bit. And then they came back later and said, where was that trail that you took to get back to camp?" And I'm like, "What trail?" And she goes, "The trail you took to get back to camp." And I'm like, "I don't know. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "The trail when you broke off from your dad." And I'm like, "What? I never broke off
Oh,
from my dad." And so we're all like, "Oh my gosh, we have to go back and reenact it." And so we went back and we reenacted it. And whatever they saw, it wasn't us. So what I think happened is when we were walking in, there was a Sasquatch there, and it threw its at me, and I got really scared. And hope maybe it was hoping I'd turn around and go back, and I didn't. And I
Mhm.
went in there, and we hung out for a while. And then when we left, whatever my dad heard, I think it was that crossing behind him to go into the woods on the other side. And
Mm.
I think that what they saw was that creature paralleling us through the woods. That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
So that was infrasound, I
Mhm.
think, that made me feel that way. The other two experiences, one, I just felt like my body was vibrating all over and it felt kind of euphoric.
Mhm.
And my husband was with me and he experienced it too, and it was directional. We could tell you where it was coming from. It was
mhm.
weird. And we were very new into Bigfoot research at that point. And we came back the next day, and there was an impression in the ground. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't castable, but where the heel was, you could see what looked like a heel, and the rest was like a foot impression. Where the toes would have been was pointed directly where we were standing. And so so
Oh.
I
Wow.
so I feel like, okay, there was something to that. But again, I was a newbie. I didn't know much. I hadn't had tracker training and all the stuff that I've
Yeah.
since had.
Yeah.
And so, but looking back, I'm like, okay, I think that's what that was. And then the other
Wow.
one, I was in the Browns property, from Finding Bigfoot. They've got people that live in Florida. I was down on their property, and I had had tracker training. Mrs. Brown saw me get a certificate from somebody. And I guess because I was a woman, she felt comfortable coming to talk to me and said, "There's a track in my vineyard. Can you come look at it?" And I'm like, "Sure." But understand, I had one tracking course, just one. And I said, I'm not an expert at all. And so we went up to her vineyard, and in the excitement to get over there, it was just she and I together. But in the excitement to get over there, I didn't bring a flashlight. And a good tracker always has a flashlight. So I said, "Oh, I forgot my flashlight." She goes, "Well, I've got one. I'll go down. It's right in the kitchen. I'll go get it." And I'm like, "Okay." So I'm kneeling down looking at this footprint, and it looks like a perfect human child's footprint. Just one. And I don't know what to make of it. It's
Mhm.
just strange. And so I'm kneeling down looking at it, and she goes into her house, and I think to myself, if anything's gonna happen, it's going to be right now, because there's nobody here but me.
Wow.
And so before I could let that thought really freak me out, she was coming back with flashlight. And so I
Mm.
look at it, can't really make sense of it. She goes, "Do you smell that?" And I'm like, "Smell what?" And she goes, "I always smell that when they're around." And at that time, my phone rang. It was my husband calling to check on me. So I take the phone call. She's like, "Walk around here while you're talking to him, see if you catch a whiff of it." So I did, and I never could smell anything. And so by the time I finished my call, I've gone all the way around her front yard, and I'm at the edge of her vineyard. I closed my flip phone. That's how long ago it was. Put it in my pocket, and so I start walking back to her. As soon as I take my first step to get back towards her, goosebumps on top of goosebumps start on the backs of my legs, all the way up my back, over the top of my head, and my heart starts pounding. And so,
Mm.
Oh my.
and then her dog, she had three like golden retrievers. One of her dogs just started alert barking, "Arf, arf, arf, arf," and just wouldn't stop, like it was something was really bothering it.
Mhm.
And so all that happened at the same time. And so I walked towards her. I knelt down calmly, checked the track again, stood back up and said, you know, I don't know what to make of this track. There's nothing, it's mysterious. I don't know what it is. I don't know enough to tell you anything. And so I said, but let me ask you this question. How are you feeling right now? She goes, oh, I have goosebumps. And I said, so do I. So we put our arms up, we had matching goosebumps. And I said,
Wow.
and she said, well, and I said, does this happen when they're around? She goes, oh yeah. And she said, and I said, well, I noticed when I started feeling this way, your dog started barking. And she said, yeah, when they're around, the youngest dog will be out barking and the other two will be curled up with their tails tucked under and everything. And so, I said, well, let's go check on your dog. So we went down and sure enough, it was the youngest dog and it was barking and I was watching it carefully to see if it was barking at anything. And it was just, its nose was up. It was like something was just bothering it. It wasn't pointed at in any direction. And then the other two dogs were curled up, like she said. And then I started hearing something being thrown through trees on the other side of her house. And I said, let's walk and see if we can figure out what that is. And we did. And as I rounded the corner of her house, I did see movement out of the corner of my eye, but I have no idea what I saw. It could have been a bird. It could have been a butterfly. I have no idea. It was just so fast. And
Wow.
as I went over there, that sound stopped, but the intensity of the feeling just kept growing. And I was like, at that point, I was like, this is getting really intense and everybody's over there having a barbecue and I'm afraid their radios are probably turned off, but let's see if we can call and get somebody over here because I just want them to know that something's going on over here.
Yeah.
And so I call and there is another newbie that's right around the corner in his tent and he's like, yeah, his name was Adam. I said, Adam, can you come over here? Something's happening. We need somebody to come pretty quickly. He's like, I'll be right there. So he was there in less than a minute. And as soon as he came, he was a very tall guy, is about 6'4". And as soon as he came, I rushed up to him, word vomited as fast as I could, everything that had happened. By the time I finished talking, and it was like somebody flipped a switch again. It was like a hush fell over the land.
Wow.
And the dog stopped barking, our goosebumps went away, and all because a male came on the property. It was very strange. And so those three things I attribute to infrasound experiences, but I don't know. I've had other people tell me they're not infrasound. I'm like, well, I don't know. Because I mean, people say they get sick. I have heard of a good friend of mine get sick, really sick, like to the point of vomiting and couldn't get up.
Wow.
And he did see a dark figure move out from behind a tree. So, so I'm just like, okay, you know, I know it happens to differently to different people in different ways. So I don't know, but I'm going to chalk this experience of getting ill and feeling not like I didn't really get sick. I just felt nauseated and lightheaded. I'm going to chalk that up to another form of infrasound because as soon as I went and got closer to you, it pretty much went away. It wasn't an issue. It was a non-issue at that point. So, I don't know. And I was kind of out front and a little bit away from the group. So I was an easier target at that point. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, Melissa, thank you so much for being here.
Sure. Yes.
This was a phenomenal hour and a half, which went by like 3
really
minutes.
Quick. Granted, I missed half of it.
You could just go back and listen to it. But I just want to thank everybody that joined the chat. And thank you, Poncho, for I know. There it is.
There, I got it.
Yes. Don't be the blob. And who else did we have?
And Larry Sharp, thank you for gifting 1 membership. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody for being here. Melissa, I really do appreciate you coming on.
Sure.
Real quick, where can everybody find you? Oh, sure. I show up for the last bit of it.
Yep, there we go.
You can follow me on my Bigfoot Chick Adventures page on Facebook. Or you can follow me. I'm Siren, spelled SIREN, BFC, Bigfoot Chick, the number 1. So Siren BFC1 on Instagram or TikTok.
Okay.
Awesome.
So make sure you guys go over there and check those out. We're going to have you back when I can actually talk to you.
Sure.
And, you know, I'll get this fixed. It only happens on Tuesdays. Because last Tuesday, Natalie, when you were talking about the LBL experience, I was gone for half of it.
I know. I was talking all by myself.
So.
Anyway,
Anyway,
But
yeah,
thank
well,
you, everyone.
yes, thank you guys. In about 20 seconds, head on over to BMR. He's got Brooke Ashley on tonight, so make sure you tell him that I sent you, and he'll take 20% off the cover fee. Everybody have a great night. Melissa, thank you again so much. Natalie, thank you for covering for me while the
Thank
internet
you.
gods didn't like me.
That's okay.
Everybody
Thank you,
have a
Sean.
great night. See you tomorrow night, everybody. Take care.